In his address to Congress, President Trump called the CHIPS Act a horrible, horrible thing. He said get rid of it and use the leftovers to reduce debt and do other things. The problem for upstate is the CHIPS Act is why Micron was awarded $6 billion to build a semiconductor complex in Clay. Onondaga County Executive Ryan McMahon is unbothered. So, Ben, should he be? Should we all be?
Well, it's the CHIPS Act. Once you pop, you can't stop. And this is the way forward. I think he's right. I think most of the money that's already been allocated has been contracted. It's in the bank. The economic benefits of moving forward, the job opportunities, technology moving forward, and national security considerations are huge because although TSMC has committed to $100 million more in investing, that's only words at the moment versus things are in motion right now.
Yeah, they're in motion right now for the reasons that you just mentioned, but those things aren't done yet, right? And we've already seen delays of 2 or 3 times on the project. So you're expecting that things are still going to move forward?
Absolutely, and I think they have to. When we rely on other countries and we become less helpful with other countries, if that's the direction we continue to move in, then it's going to be a problem for national security purposes if we get in any conflict ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Look, I think there's a danger right now in latching on too much to every single word that Trump says. We've seen a lot of chaos, right? Oh my gosh, he said horrible twice. He said Gaza is the new Ibiza. He said tariffs, not tariffs, tariffs, not tariffs. Fundamentally, I think what Trump's doing here is he wants to justify this focus on tariffs. And he sees tariffs as a way to onshore manufacturing and build plants in the United States, and that's the strategy. And he's worried that congressional spending, as the strategy for getting companies like Micron to be here, goes against his grand narrative of tariffs. But I do think that Ben's right, that this is mostly bluster. I think we're at risk if we just latch on to every single word he said in that speech is going to happen, because it's not.
Yeah, Aaron, could I follow up with you and ask, part of the holdup is the environmental review has to be done, and there's a whole bunch of stuff involved there. And so McMahon is talking about perhaps rolling back those regulations. Are you concerned about that?
I'm actually not super concerned about that right now when it comes to Micron. I'm concerned if we kind of violate the rules and the laws that we have. But this has been a long and ongoing process of environmental review, and honestly, that's been one of the causes of delay. And that's totally separate from this call for gutting the CHIPS Act that we just heard in Congress. We need to do our due diligence on environmental reviews under the National Environmental Policy Act called NEPA, and that process should continue to play out. But that's an unrelated challenge to the challenge of making sure that this money allocated from Congress supports development like this. We do have to do it right, and I think we will.
One of the other reasons that I think we don't have to worry about the Micron deal going forward is the fact that this Micron deal is similar to other deals, Intel in Ohio and other places around the country. In fact, I think it's up to 20 different states, if I have that number right, that have similar types of deals going on right now. And so the pushback, even after the speech, would be pretty great on President Trump, who's going to want Congress to support him in a whole number of other ways as we, as all of these executive orders play out in the lawsuits, et cetera. And so I think this will go forward, even though he's right now sort of acting as if he can make the decision it will or it won't, simply because you have Republicans who have communities that are invested in these various types of contracts and agreements, and they need them to go forward.
And Republicans voted for this.
Yes.
So you had 17 Republican senators voted for it and 24 House members. And so it's not one of these super liberal partisan vote bills that the Democrats were able to pass under unified government. There's substantial Republican support. The one thing that does make me a little bit nervous when we think about the CHIPS Act, part of it is the financial incentives for companies. And a big part of it is also research in regards to this type of technology, and that part of it down the road could be in more jeopardy, I think, than the financial incentives piece.
Yeah, going down the road because nothing comes out or is given to Micron until there's actually something that's done in the way of construction. But I wanted to ask you, Luke, are you concerned that this might get caught up in the back and forth between Trump and Governor Hochul, because we've seen that happen in connection with the congestion pricing? You think he might use that? Because apparently, based on what all of you have said and the reassurances that McMahon offered, you know, Trump seems to be on a different page than what we've heard. So do you think he might use this to leverage something?
Anything's possible, but I think in this particular case, he doesn't have the unilateral authority like he does over directing the executive branch to operate in certain ways when it comes to immigration. And so he would really need to be able to back up whatever he would threaten Hochul with in regards to negotiations. And I really just think it's clear he doesn't have the ability to do that on this particular issue.
Yeah, on this particular issue. So one of the questions I had sent out to the group before today is what are the risks involved? Even if most folks accept this is going to go forward, it hasn't gone forward yet. And there's Destiny, there's the DeWitt plant that also sort of fell to the wind. Are there risks involved with school districts building new structures, new buildings with other Onondaga Community College, for example, revamping parts of its curriculum? Should all of the other parties that might be affected continue to go full steam ahead or wait for there to be groundbreaking?
I think part of the problem is that some of the potential construction, et cetera, has already begun. So what do? Just sort of leave a building sort of half built? So I think they have to go forward, but I would suggest, and this is just me talking, I would suggest that for anyone who has built a building or is building new classrooms, there needs to be some private discussion about, okay, if for some reason this falls through, what is our backup plan? How are we going to utilize this space? Do we rent it out, what, et cetera? So I do think you prepare as if everything's going to go just as it has, maybe with a glitch here or there, but you also have a plan B.
Mm-hmm. Be mindful of the fact that there could be something else going on.